On my wrist today, the Patek Philippe Nautilus 3700/1A, a wristwatch designed by Gerald Genta for Patek Philippe. As you might know, Gerald Genta was a watch designer born in 1931 and passed away in 2011. He designed the Omega constellation, for example, and later on some Seamaster models. But he was also the designer of the Universal Genève pole router. And then, in 1972, he designed the famous Royal Oak for Audemars Piguet. Later on, in 1976, he came up with the Nautilus. It was a more smooth design than the Royal Oak, a little bit less masculine, and that was also his idea, his concept, to make it wearable for men and women. And in 76, Patek Philippe introduced the Nautilus amongst their rather classic collection. So the Nautilus was also seen as enfant terrible to many Patek collectors. It was not accepted from the first day on. The hype only came later. The watch I have here today is one of those very first Nautilus models. It came in a cork box that unfortunately we don't have. And it's a 3700/1A. The A stands for steel, acier, and it was also available in platinum and gold. But by concept, this was a stainless steel luxury sports watch done by Patek Philippe. It has a porthole construction and it's a monoblock case, just like the Royal Oak of those days. And more interesting, it uses the exact same movement as the Royal Oak and the 222, today known as the Overseas, and this year Vacheron introduced a re-edition of that 222 with a different movement. But in this watch, it has exactly the same movement that the Royal Oak used for many years and the Vacheron used as well. It's the Patek Philippe caliber 28-255C. Later on, Patek Philippe changed it to their in-house caliber 324SC. Monoblock means that the case exists of two parts. So the case back is closed and cannot be detached from the case. Everything has to go out through the crystal. You will also see that this watch is incredibly thin. That is because of the movement, because it doesn't have the ball bearings that we know of normal automatic movements. Instead, the rotor is on some kind of rail that keeps it very flat. And just like the Royal Oak, the Nautilus 3700 doesn't have a seconds hand. Personally, I like that very much because it keeps it very clean. And in my opinion, these should have also left out to date, but hey, you can't mess with an icon. The watch comes with this integrated bracelet, although later models could also be had with a leather strap and with a folding clasp with a flip lock. Although the prices today of this watch skyrocketed, the price for a nice 3700 will range between 150,000 and 280,000 euros. But this watch was never cheap to start with. It was an expensive stainless steel Patek Philippe watch. The Nautilus 3700 was in production from 1976 till 1990. Meanwhile, other models were also produced, other variations of the Nautilus. But the Nautilus 3700 Jumbo, and Jumbo was because it was a big watch, it measures 42 mm from side to side, but it's very thin, 8 mm. So because of the size, 42 mm, this was considered to be a large watch. This was the Jumbo, so all the other variations were often smaller. Then there was a long time of nothing, and then in 2006, 30 years after introduction of the first Nautilus, Patek Philippe introduced the 5711. Very famous watch by now. It's a little bit thicker, it has approximately the same size and a different movement with a seconds hand. Also, that model is not a monoblock case, it has a three-part case where you can see the movement from the back side of the watch. For many years, and I think it was at least until 10 years ago, the Nautilus was not a huge success. It was not a seller. It was a watch for the connoisseur, for the collector and the watch enthusiast. These people knew about the Patek Philippe Nautilus, like they knew about the Royal Oak, for example, or the Overseas. But something has changed. Be it social media or more interest in watches in general, the Nautilus skyrocketed. It has become a hype watch. You will see actors, singers, rappers wearing or sporting a Nautilus. JC, but also someone like Russell Crowe can be seen wearing a Nautilus. Today, there is no stainless steel Nautilus Jumbo around anymore. Patek decided to discontinue the model in stainless steel, and instead, this year, they replaced it with a new watch in white gold. And the new watch that Patek Philippe introduced a few weeks ago is the Nautilus 58111G. And the G stands for gold, in this case white gold. And that watch refers to that very first Nautilus with a monoblock case. So also with the new watch, everything needs to be done through the crystal. So if they want to service it, the front needs to come off and then they can get the movement out. To me personally, the Nautilus is a beautiful watch. Aside from the price today, which I feel is not worth it, but who am I? If prices are being paid, it's apparently worth it. I love the Nautilus, and this is my favorite one because it is the classic one, how Gerald Genta envisioned the Nautilus to be. Stainless steel, super thin, no seconds hand, and a monoblock case. It's also the reason why I bought in the past the Royal Oak, the classic one, because it has the monoblock case, it has that same movement and no seconds hand. Let us know what the Patek Philippe Nautilus means to you. Does it represent all that is bad in the watch industry today? Or is it your holy grail? Let us know in the comments, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and see you next time.